in a world where oversharing is the default. And the currency of intimacy seems to be instant vulnerability. The ancient Stoics would have found our culture puzzling. For them, the interior fortress of the self was sacred, the heart of tranquility. In this landscape, mystery is not deception, it is discipline. And paradoxically, for many women, it is this restraint, this unseen and unknowable quality in a man that ignites obsession, curiosity, and ultimately, emotional vulnerability. Mystery makes her weak, not by manipulation, but by confronting her with the rarest quality in modern men: self-control. Mystery as an ancient virtue. To the Stoic philosophers, Seneca, Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius, the greatest power was mastery over the self. A man who could tame his emotions, not chase validation, and remain unmoved by praise or insult, was not just wise, he was untouchable. Mystery, in this sense, is the byproduct of self-possession. The mystery that draws her in is not fabricated aloofness or calculated silence. It is the earned quietude of a man who needs nothing from her approval. He is present but detached, observant but unreactive. His emotional discipline radiates as enigma. In a society of men who chase, who explain, who overshare, this rare figure exudes a silent gravitational pull. She leans in. She asks questions. She tries to decode the man who offers no clues. And thus, the power of mystery begins its quiet work. The feminine psyche and the puzzle of presence. The feminine mind is not inherently weak. It is inquisitive, emotional, and finely attuned to subtle social cues. Women are neurologically wired to scan for emotional safety, depth, and reliability. But what triggers this scanner is not full disclosure. It is contradiction. It's when a man is warm, yet restrained, kind, yet distant, attentive, but not obsessed. The contrast ignites intrigue. A man who talks about his day in broad strokes, but keeps his ambitions close to his chest. A man who listens deeply, but seldom shares his own wounds. This pattern doesn't confuse her, it captivates her. Mystery, in this light, is emotional minimalism. It is not cruelty. It is not ghosting. It is the refusal to turn oneself into a transparent book. In doing so, the Stoic man shifts the balance of emotional labor. She chases, not him. She imagines more than he reveals. She fills in blanks, often with dreams more flattering than the truth. He becomes not who he is, but who she wants him to be. Power dynamics and romantic strategy. Much of modern dating advice centers around authenticity. Just be yourself. But from a Stoic view, being yourself does not mean emotional diarrhea. It means embodying your principles. It means, especially for men, retaining a kind of sacred interior silence, a fortress of soul that no woman, no matter how beautiful, can storm at will. This doesn't mean being cold or unkind. Quite the opposite. It means being clear in action and mysterious in intention. The Stoic man moves deliberately, but never announces. He compliments, but never flatters. He shows interest, but never asks for validation. Women feel this difference instinctively. The man who lays his heart bare on day 2 earns sympathy, not desire. The man who enjoys her company, but whose thoughts remain his own, becomes a puzzle. And every woman, no matter how confident, loves a puzzle. Why? Because mystery creates imagination, and imagination is more powerful than reality. The psychological trap, emotional projection. Here lies the Stoic advantage. Women project emotional depth onto the mysterious man. They sense more than is there. She thinks, he must have layers. He must have a story. He must have wounds he won't speak of. The reality may be simpler, but her mind fills in gaps with longing. This is where the mystery weakens her. Not through malice, but through her own mind's architecture. She becomes emotionally invested in a version of him that doesn't exist. She tries harder. She opens up first. She tests him. She even gets frustrated, but always returns. For she believes on some level that if she unlocks him, she wins. But the Stoic man cannot be unlocked, because he is not locked. He is simply whole. Silence, the Stoic man's weapon. In a world addicted to noise, silence is seductive. For the Stoic man, silence is not absence, it is statement. He does not speak to win approval. He speaks to convey meaning. This calibrated silence drives women wild. Why? Because women, socially trained to find meaning in tone, body language, and facial expression, lean into silence with more intensity than words. She becomes the interpreter of his silence, convinced that behind it is depth, or pain, or passion. Whether that is true or not is irrelevant. She believes it. His silence becomes her story, emotional supply and demand. Every man must ask, what is scarce in today's world? Mystery is scarce. Restraint is scarce. Men who don't overshare, who don't need attention, who don't beg for validation, are scarce. And in any economy, scarcity breeds value. The Stoic man, in his stillness and dignity, becomes high value, not because he postures, but because he withholds. And in withholding, he reverses the game. Women initiate, women invest, women wonder. And when they do, they reveal a truth few dare to say aloud. Mystery, when rooted in discipline, makes her weak. The man who lives by Stoic virtues becomes his own citadel. While others outsource their self-worth to attention, affection, or applause, he remains self-contained. This is not emotional repression. It is sovereignty. In this second chapter, we explore how a man builds that interior world, and how such an unshakable self gives birth to the kind of mystery that dismantles feminine defenses and evokes reverence. The pillars of mystery: temperance, discipline, detachment. Let us be clear. Mystery is not a game. It is the side effect of a life governed by reason, restraint, and detachment. The Stoic man does not craft mystery to seduce. He becomes mysterious by refusing to need what others crave. He is content with solitude. He is calm in chaos. He controls his appetites, desires, and reactions. This emotional stillness makes him unreadable, not because he hides, but because he no longer needs to show. To a woman, this unreadability is electric. It triggers the same instinct that draws her to ancient myths or deep oceans, the sense that beneath the surface lies a story worth knowing. The Stoic man does not chase love, but love chases him, hungry to breach his surface. In this pursuit, she often finds herself emotionally exposed, even while he remains composed. Boundaries as magnetic force. Modern dating often conflates openness with intimacy, but the Stoic knows that true connection is impossible without boundaries. When a man shares everything, she knows exactly where she stands, and mystery dies. But when a man retains sacred ground, beliefs, scars, dreams, she leans in. Not because he withholds manipulatively, but because he respects himself enough not to overshare. This boundary signals strength. It tells her, I don't owe you my soul. And paradoxically, that makes her want to earn it. The Stoic man's inner world is not a gift. It is a kingdom. To be invited in is rare, and rarity again creates value. Resisting the urge to explain explanation is ego. The Stoic resists the temptation to explain his every thought, feeling, or decision. He moves through life by principle, not permission. This lack of justification makes her lean into his choices with more attention. She wants to know why he stayed silent when others raged, why he didn't text back instantly, why he walks away from drama without speaking a word. Her mind loops. Is he hurt? Does he not care? Is he testing me? He is simply not explaining himself. He owes no one that luxury, not because he is cruel, but because he is free. And freedom to the feminine soul is deeply attractive. Self-control is the core of desire. The man who cannot control his desire becomes slave to it. And a man enslaved to his appetite, be it for sex, attention, or approval, loses value. But the man who can walk away, who can delay gratification, who can say no, gains mystique. The Stoic man does not jump at every invitation. He values his time. He chooses his company. And when he says yes, it means something. She senses this. She doesn't get a flood of texts or overthinking apologies. She gets precision. And that precision commands her respect. The power of absence-presence is valuable. But absence is currency. When the Stoic man is not around, he is felt. His silence echoes. His emotional absence creates space for her to miss him, to long, to reflect. The man who is always available loses his frame. The Stoic man, he disappears into purpose, into solitude, into creation. And when he returns, she is more grateful, more softened, more open. Absence is not punishment. It is polarity. And polarity is what deepens attraction. Conclusion. The Stoic mythos. Be the storm. She cannot predict mystery makes her weak, not because she is shallow, but because her mind was built to wonder, to search, to intuit. The Stoic man does not play games to become mysterious. He lives by code. He walks in silence. He does not rush to be understood. And that enigma, born of discipline, drives her wild. She is not broken. She is responding to the rarest kind of man. One who is not seduced by his own desires. One who does not announce his every emotion. One who has trained himself to want less, feel deeply, and express selectively. Mystery is the reward of mastery. And mastery, Stoic mastery, is the new alpha. Not the loudest in the room, but the stillest. Not the most emotional, but the most unmoved. Not the most available, but the most unshakable. So let her wonder. Let her chase. Let her unravel herself trying to understand you. For the man who is fully himself needs no explanation.